Hello, and welcome to Fluent English, the podcast for learners who want to speak English with more confidence, more natural flow, and absolute joy. I'm Alex, and I'm here to help you speak English more naturally, step by step, day by day. Just like always, I will be speaking slowly and clearly so you can follow me, understand every single word, and repeat after me. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something very common, very frustrating, but completely fixable. We are going to talk about the fluency gap. This is the invisible wall between understanding English and actually speaking English. We are going to learn how to turn your passive English knowledge into active, confident speaking fluency, even if you feel stuck, even if your mind goes blank when you try to speak, even if you don't have a speaking partner, and even if you feel like you've been studying for years without making real progress. Many people think that if they just read more books, watch more movies, and study more grammar rules, they will magically wake up one day and speak perfect English. But that's not true. You don't need to read 10 more textbooks. You don't need to memorize a dictionary. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on intensive courses. What you need is a bridge. You need small, smart actions that move the English words from the back of your brain to the front of your mouth. Actions that are easy to repeat. Actions that fit into your daily life. Actions that train your brain to stop translating and start producing English instantly. So let's begin. Let's start with a simple question. What is the difference between passive English and active English? Maybe you have experienced this before. You are listening to an English podcast or watching an English movie and you understand almost everything. You feel great. You think, wow, my English is getting so good. But later that day, you meet an English speaker. They ask you a simple question. Suddenly, your heart beats faster. You open your mouth, but the words do not come out. You know the words, but you cannot find them. This happens because understanding is passive, speaking is active, listening to English is like sitting in the passenger seat of a car. It's comfortable. You enjoy the view. Someone else is driving. But speaking English is like moving to the driver's seat. Suddenly you have to steer, you have to push the pedals, and you have to watch the road. It requires a completely different set of muscles. We need to build your active speaking muscles. It's simple and it's very powerful. Here is how it works. You take the English you already know and you force your brain to use it out loud in safe, simple ways every single day. You don't stop. You don't worry about sounding foolish. You don't wait for the perfect conversation. You create your own active practice. Let's try an active exercise right now together. I'll say a short sentence. You repeat it. Then I will give you one new word, and I want you to change the sentence using that new word. Say it out loud. Don't just think it. Speak it. Let's begin. I am drinking coffee. Now you repeat. Now change the word coffee to tea. Say the new sentence. I am drinking tea. Now change the word drinking to making. Say the new sentence. I am making tea. Now add the phrase for my friend. Say the new sentence. I am making tea for my friend. Very good. That's it. That is active sentence building. At first, it feels a little slow. You might have to pause and think about how the words fit together. That's okay. Building active fluency is not about rushing. It's about training your brain and your mouth to construct sentences in real time, without a textbook in front of you. It helps you get used to pulling words from your memory and putting them into the air. If you do this kind of active practice often, even just a few minutes a day, you'll start to speak faster, more clearly, and with much less hesitation. It is a small habit with massive results. Now let's talk about the main question. How can you build this active fluency every day? Many students tell me, Alex, I know a lot of vocabulary, but I only use the same basic words when I talk. I want to use better words. I want to sound advanced, but I don't know how to remember them in the moment. And I always say, you don't need a massive vocabulary. You don't need complex academic words. You don't need to sound like a university professor. You just need to take the words you already know and make them active. Let me give you 5 simple and powerful tips to turn your passive English into active fluency every single day in your real life, wherever you are. Tip number 1, learn in chunks, not in single words. This is one of the most important changes you can make. If you want to speak fluently, you must stop memorizing lists of individual words. Single words are very hard for your brain to use quickly. If you memorize the word decision, and then you want to speak, your brain has to work very hard. Your brain asks, wait, do I do a decision? Do I make a decision? Do I take a decision? This hesitation makes you feel nervous, and it kills your fluency. Instead of single words, learn chunks. Learn natural groups of words. Do not learn decision. Learn make a decision. Do not learn depends. Learn it depends on. Do not learn idea. Learn come up with an idea. When you learn chunks, you don't have to think about grammar when you speak. The grammar is already built into the phrase. The prepositions are already there. You just pull the whole chunk out of your brain and say it. It makes speaking feel effortless. Every time you listen to a podcast or read a book and find a new word, look at the words next to it. Write down the whole phrase. Practice the whole phrase. Tip number 2, use the read, look away, speak technique. Now that you are focusing on chunks, you need to practice recalling them. Reading is a wonderful way to improve your English, but reading is entirely passive. When the words are right there on the paper, your brain doesn't have to work hard to remember them. We want to turn reading into an active speaking exercise. Here is what you do. Take an English book, an article, or even a post on social media. Read one short paragraph silently. Understand it. Then close the book. Look away from the screen. Now, explain what you just read out loud, in your own words. For example, if you read a paragraph about a new scientific discovery about sleep, you look away and say to the wall, "Scientists found that people need more sleep. If you sleep 8 hours, your brain works better." You will stumble. You will pause. You will forget the exact words the author used, and that is exactly the point. When you look away and force yourself to summarize, your brain is doing the heavy lifting of active recall. You are training yourself to find the words. If you get completely stuck, look back at the text, find the word you needed, look away again, and say the sentence. This is incredibly powerful. Tip number 3, embrace the good enough rule. This is a psychological tip, but it might be the most important one. The biggest enemy of active speaking is perfectionism. We translate in our heads because we are searching for the perfect word. You want to say you feel exhausted, but you can't remember the word exhausted. So what do? You freeze. You stop talking. You panic. You must stop doing this. To build active fluency, you have to use the good enough rule. If you can't remember the perfect advanced word, immediately use a simple word you already know. If you forget exhausted, say very tired. If you forget delicious, say very good. If you forget complicated, say not simple. Native speakers do this all the time. The goal of language is communication, not perfection. When you permit yourself to use simple, good enough words, your anxiety disappears. When your anxiety disappears, your brain relaxes. And when your brain relaxes, the words flow much faster. Do not stop the car just because you missed the perfect turn. Keep driving. Keep speaking. Tip number 4, talk to yourself in English out loud. This sounds silly, but every highly fluent English learner I have ever met does this. You need to create an English environment in your mouth, not just in your ears. And the best way to do this without a speaking partner is to talk to yourself. Narrate your life. When you are cooking dinner, say out loud, "Now I am cutting the onions. The pan is getting hot. I need to add some salt." When you are driving to work, say out loud, "There is a lot of traffic today. I hope I am not late for my meeting. Look at that blue car." You are practicing taking the real thoughts in your head and turning them into English immediately. It removes the delay. It removes the translation process. Because you are alone, there is zero pressure. No one is listening. No one is judging your grammar. It is a safe playground for your English. You can try new vocabulary. You can practice your pronunciation. You can make 1,000 mistakes, and it does not matter. Just make sure you are moving your mouth. Tip number 5. Change your daily habits from passive to active. Let me tell you something very important. If you want to stop translating and start speaking fluently, you cannot wait for English class. You cannot wait for a formal study session. You must design a life where active English is required every day. You should live with English in an active way. What do I mean by that? I mean that you must stop just consuming English and you must start producing it. It should become a normal everyday action, just like brushing your teeth or making your bed. The more you force yourself to produce English, the faster your active vocabulary will grow. Now let me give you 5 easy, practical ways to do this, even if you are incredibly busy. You can choose 1 or 2 of these and start today. First, leave comments on English social media. You probably spend time scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook every day. Right now, you are a passive consumer. You watch, you read, you scroll. Let's make it active. Every time you watch an English video you like, leave a comment in English. Do not just write "nice video." Write a full sentence. Write an opinion. Write a question. For example, "I really loved this recipe. Do you think I can use chicken instead of beef?" Or, "This was a very helpful tip. I will try it tomorrow." Writing is the first step to speaking. It is active production, but it gives you a few seconds to think. It trains your brain to express your true thoughts in English. Second, use English with your phone's voice assistant. You have a native English speaker in your pocket right now. Siri, Google Assistant, or Alexa. Change your phone's voice assistant language to English. Whenever you need to set an alarm, check the weather, or do some math, do not type it. Speak it in English. Say out loud, "Hey Siri, set an alarm for 7 a.m." Say out loud, "Hey Google, what is the weather like in London today?" Say out loud, "Hey Alexa, remind me to buy milk tomorrow." This forces you to speak clearly and actively. If the machine understands you, you know your pronunciation and sentence structure were correct. It takes 5 seconds, but it builds a daily habit of opening your mouth and speaking English. Third, do the teach it technique. There's a famous saying, "If you want to master something, teach it." You can use this for English. Every time you learn a new concept, read a news article, or watch a documentary, imagine you have to explain it to a friend who doesn't speak English. Stand in your living room and explain the concept out loud in English. Use your hands. Use emotion. For example, if you just watched a video about how black holes work, say out loud, "Okay, so a black hole is a place in space where gravity is incredibly strong. Even light cannot escape it." When you pretend to teach, you naturally use connecting words like "so," because "however" and "therefore." You practice structuring a long thought. This is exactly what you need for real conversations. Fourth, the 3-word story challenge. This is a fun game to play when you are bored, waiting for a bus, or taking a shower. Pick 3 random English words that you want to practice. For example, let's pick umbrella, ridiculous, avoid. Now, force yourself to make a short spoken story using those 3 words. Yesterday, it started raining heavily, but my umbrella was broken. I looked absolutely ridiculous running down the street holding a newspaper over my head. I tried to avoid the big puddles, but my shoes got completely soaked. This exercises your creative active recall. It teaches your brain that it can handle unexpected words and weave them together. It is an amazing workout for your fluency muscles. Fifth, actively summarize your day before you sleep. This is similar to keeping a diary, but you do it entirely out loud. When you lie in bed at night, turn off the lights, close your eyes, and talk to yourself in English for 2 solid minutes. Summarize what happened today, but also talk about your plans for tomorrow. Today was a very long day at the office. My boss gave me a new project, and it seems a little complicated. For lunch, I had a sandwich with a colleague. Tomorrow, I need to wake up early because I want to go to the gym before work. I hope I have enough energy. This is brilliant practice for 2 reasons. First, it forces you to use the past tense for today and the future tense for tomorrow. Second, it uses the vocabulary of your actual personal life. You are not practicing vocabulary about biology or politics. You are practicing the English words you personally need the most. Okay? Transitioning from passive understanding to active speaking is not a mystery. It is not magic. It is simply about moving from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. It does not take hours of studying. It does not require you to live in an English-speaking country. You don't need a private tutor sitting next to you. And here is the real secret. Action builds confidence. You will not become confident and then start speaking. You must start speaking, and then the confidence will come. Turn your daily life into a stage for your English. Make English your tool, your toy, and your habit. Instead of thinking a thought in your native language, try thinking it in English. Instead of reading silently, read aloud. Instead of scrolling quietly, write a comment. Instead of turning off a video and forgetting it, summarize it to the empty room. These small, active moments will stack up. Day by day, week by week, you will notice that the hesitation gets shorter. You will notice that the translations in your head stop happening. You will notice that the words start jumping out of your mouth naturally, smoothly, and effortlessly. And that is when English stops feeling like a frustrating school subject. It stops feeling like a heavy backpack you have to carry. It starts feeling like a part of you. It becomes an extension of your own voice. And that's when real, active, unshakable fluency begins. You can do this. Just start today. Speak 1 sentence out loud right now. See you next time.